everybody, I am Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. Russ is going to be joining us here shortly. We got the invite out to him, so he's on his way. Mindy, good to see you. Krista Melinda, how are you? Hey, Kat, what's going on?
I need to get my chat up.
What's the matter with you, dude? Tighten up your game. Come on, man. You're a
It's
professional.
loose. It's loose.
James Collins cares. Krista Melinda, there you are. Feisty Kitty, good to have you here. David Clark, what's happening? Hello, Lisa Trimble. Renee B is here. Good to see you live tonight. Well, it's good to be seen live. Galen, how are you? Just Jess is here, and I'm glad that you are. DIDNT McClure, you may remember her from such classics as Dee Dee Razzle Dazzle. What's happening? Do you remember the guy from The Simpsons? Something McClure. Hello, Meredith Lynn. Welcome to the boat. Glad that you are here. We're doing a little Nightyard, people. That's where I get together, usually with a convict or two, and we discuss things from the convict point of view. And then on top of that, if you have any questions, all you got to do is put Q's in front of those rascals so that we know. And if we miss one, we start and we circle back. Hey, Bill Herrera, good to see you. We circle back around to those questions so that we get all of them answered. Finally catching a live. Well, we are happy about that. Huh? Having Grim, I'm glad that you're here. Hey, Jennifer Matthews, Diane, DS Kitty is here. Glad you're here. Ghost Rider, what's happening? Lori E. Long to tell him all the reasons for the things he's done. Ghost Rider.
Isn't that a great song, dude?
It's a great song. Lori E. Teresa Clay.
You're the only person who would know that.
Shelly Kelly. Well, if you remember, I honestly, as long as it came before like 1990, I usually know the words. Horton Fissel, Allison Metcalf, Palumbo, watching while leaning on a heating pad. Tweaked. Uh-oh. What are we on, y'all? Tweaked my lower back. Wow.
It was great.
My plants back outside now that the big freeze is over. My fault. Lifted and twisted. You know better. We all know better, but how many people have done that? Put a deuce in the chat if you've ever made that mistake. You want to hear something crazy? Is a true story. I bought a MG midget, and when I went to get it and pick it up, the guy was painting it for me. And when I got there, I said to him, "Hey, all right, I'm ready." Told him I'd be there at 12:30. This was in Houston, Texas, and the guy says to me, "Oh, well, we haven't put the engine back in it yet." I said, "Run that by me one more time." "What do you mean you haven't put the engine back in it?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm supposed to be leaving." He goes, "Oh, it's not going to take more than 30, 40 minutes." And there was a dude at this guy's shop that picked up the engine block it was only a 1200 and something cc engine, but he picked this thing up and carried it over to the car. And I thought, well, that's a lawnmower. Hey, Kelly Bell, how are you? But it was
I think they're four bolts.
Yeah. Christy LeBron. I just watched Casper's show last night. Well, we'll have to star that one. We'll come back to that one. Casper's great, man. He does a good show. I love the fact that we've got more content out there. Taylor Miller is looking good in green. Who was the worst person you ever met in prison? You mean aside from Casper or myself?
Yeah. Name rhymes with Schmacko.
There were a lot of really bad people. The worst I met had to be Drew Peterson. And I'm just keeping it real. That was a guy that you could see that this guy was he wasn't right. Like, he joked so often about his missing wife. It was a 25 time a day thing. Yeah, man. We were both working in the kitchen. We were ordering food and doing stuff like that. That was our job. And doing payroll took up almost the entire month. But payroll was another big thing that we did. A lot of hustling, bro. A lot of hustling. I'll get you on the payroll. You don't have to go get a real job. Kick me back half your paycheck. I was balling immaculate. But I worked with old Drewski, and one day we had the chemicals dropped off for the dishwasher. And the chemicals came in these huge 50-gallon blue barrels with a white plastic top on it that's sealed shut. And you had to put a little clear tube in there, which we stole for Moon Shannon. Anyway, when the barrels first got in there, he went and got a piece of paper, and he wrote on the piece of paper, "Don't bother looking. She's not in this one."
Oh,
and he was making reference to the fact that his wife was alleged to have been put into one of those blue barrels. And by the way, that didn't happen. He got pretty open and honest with us about what happened to his wife, and I'll tell you right now, she didn't end up in a blue barrel. but she's no longer with us. She's not out there missing, and I don't think anybody's really shocked by that. But can we put if you got a wrench, can you put a link up to Casper's channel? We want to make sure that everybody can find Casper. Taylor, you look fantastic in green. A lot of people turn green today. I love that. Love that. But yeah, that was the most evil cat I ever met. What about you?
The most evil person. I mean, I could say any of the brand that I met,
right?
That are tipped up for real, you know.
Yeah.
Because they you know, it's bleed in. It's not just bleed in. It's kill to get in or unalive to get in. So I mean, they were all super evil. But this is gonna sound crazy. The most evil person I met was actually at a low, and I was only there for a second, and I ended up smashing him. He was just one of the weirdos, you know. Yep. And he had some, I don't even like saying it out loud, but had some
foul
some little ones tied up in the trunk of his car, you know, and he was out there walking the yard. So and saying he was an Odinist, you know, was denying God, and so I smashed him with an iron.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so, and I gotta respect that. That's what's supposed to happen. The inmates are supposed to take care of people like that, and the cops are supposed to look in the opposite direction. If that bums anybody out, I'm sorry, but that's really kind of how it's always worked. And they've tried to clean that up, but they can't. Right? They can't. In fact, you know, the last.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bum anyone out with that story at all.
No, you didn't. That's how it's. Look, there was one of those guys. So when I was at Tucson FCI, they didn't have a shoe, no shoe. Right? They had closed down everything there. So if you got in trouble, you got transegged across the street. And do you know who drove you over there? Debo. Fridays. Debo was at the camp. I swear to God, dude. Debo drove the van. When I got transegged from the FCI to the USB, I got driven over there and I said to him, I got in the van, I go, damn, dude, you know who you look like? He goes, Debo. And I go, yeah, man. He goes, I am Debo, man. He was in for some real estate scam or whatever, but he was at the camp. And Debo drove me across the street. But there was a guy unalived there. And he was unalived because they transeg all of these people. Or worse, they take guys with solid paperwork and they bring them to Uncle Sneaky Camp, which is what they call that place because it's more of those people than anybody. And they bring them to Uncle Sneaky Camp and they try to dump them on the yard. And these guys aren't going to sign the paperwork because it's not a myth. There's a piece of paper that they want you to sign.
I had to sign a paper. I did the captain's review. Captain said he wasn't going to let me out unless I signed a paper. And I said, yeah, I'll sign it, knowing full well that
that's the end of your career.
And I did so good. But this guy, he was an Odinist, you know, and then with, you know, my group are Odinists, you know, they were, it's all,
yeah.
I did it for the food for Yule, but but he was just so loud and proud about it, and I couldn't stand it anymore, brother. I couldn't stand it.
It happens, man.
Yeah,
you're getting a little heated now.
Yeah,
Reese, I love you. I'm glad that you're here. Well, this guy. So they took a solid dude that got transect to this yard, and when he got there, they said, "Look, you got to sign these papers to get out." They had sent him to every weirdo yard in the BOP. And the guy's got to get paperwork, but they're trying to break him. It's a diesel therapy thing. So he gets there and he goes, "No, man, I'm not signing this paper." And they give him a freak, and they put a freak in his cell, and he beats the bark off this dude, right? I mean, hurts him, knocks his teeth out. It's a legitimate beatdown. And they go ahead and put another guy in the cell, and he had written to them and said, "If you put another dude in my cell with paperwork like the last one, I'm going to unalive him." And they did exactly that. They put this dude in there, and he, since we're on a graphic show, and that's what we're here for anyway, he ripped sheets and he weaved them into a rope. He stood on top of this dude and went like this back and forth on his throat until he managed to remove his dome from his neck. And this really happened. And the crazy thing is, they brought him into our unit and they started talking to us. And I mean, he starts. Hold on one second.
My daughter stole my
Russ
sweetie.
is just having Wi-Fi problems. But the guy came out and started telling us this story, and everyone's going, "Yeah, whatever." And then the following day, when I got brought out the yard, I said, "Man, that Yahoo you brought into our unit last night screamed until 3 a.m. about all the crazy stuff you did to some dude last night And the cop goes, and he did every bit of it. He said, that was the most heinous thing I've ever seen in my life. Like the cop was shook up by what this dude did. And that happens, man. You know, those kind of things where, you know, we talk a lot about the inmates, but there are cops that are never the same. I knew a cop at Lewisburg, and he would come by and just stand at the food slot, and he would talk to you for incredible amounts of time. Like he would just kill time standing there, like during showers and stuff. When they're standing around doing nothing, waiting for you to get out of the shower. He would sit and talk to people. And one day I said, and the guy's name was Stacy. I go, hey, Stacy, what's the nastiest thing you ever saw here, man? And he goes, when it was a SMU or when it wasn't? I said, in general, just the nastiest thing you ever saw here.
Yeah.
And he said, I was working the shoe, and he's walking by and he's doing the flashlight thing, and they don't shine it on your face. It's considered really bad form. So they shine it at the ceiling, and it kind of illuminates the room, but it doesn't. And they're just looking to see if you're in your bed or whatever. He said, and I walked by, he goes, and there's this Rastafarian in there dancing. And he said, and I got back to the guard shack. He said, and at the time he was a youngster. He said he got back into the guard shack, and he said to the guy, man, that Rasta in the second cell is in there dancing. He goes, I don't know what's up with his cellie or whatever. And he goes, in the second cell? He goes, no, there's a white guys. This dude had put the insides of his cellie on his head and was inside dancing around with it. And the guy thought it was dreadlocks.
Wow.
And, And
wow.
There are some people that, I mean, there's some guys in there that should never be in there. There's Russ, but we can't get him into the back office. So hopefully we get you back there. Russ is having problems with his internet. But that's about the, and to hear them tell the story. By now the guys, so he was almost at retirement. He kept saying 4 years to parole. So unless he decided to up for another, couple of years, because some of those guys do that. They try to retire and they get out in the real world and figure out they can't live there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can't tell me they don't become a lot like us.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. They do.
The same words that set off inmates set off guards.
Yep. It's crazy. I've seen it. I've heard it. We've talked about it before. Well, I mean, I know we have new viewers, but yeah, they pick up our lingo. They pick up what upsets us. Yeah. Click up in the little groups
on each other.
Oh yeah. They don't like rats at all.
Well, this same cat Stacy said to me, he goes, man, I was at the store with my wife. He said, and a guy cut in front of us. And I said to him, hey man, if you had asked if you could go in front of us, because the guy had a lot less stuff in his cart, he goes, I would have told you could go. You got like 5 things. He goes, but just jumping in front of me. And the guy goes, you better back off, bitch. He says to this cop, and the cop grabs this dude and throws him on his back, and he's got him by the throat. And his wife basically pulls him off. And he goes, and when I got outside in the parking lot, my wife said to me, you're no better off than those convicts that you babysit. And he goes, and it occurred to me, he goes, I don't fit in outside of any place but here. And it was a sad thing. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Whoa, what do you know?
Finally got it back up.
You realize we were doing census. Yeah,
jump start
census and we couldn't find you. The whole yard's on lockdown waiting.
Dude's a millionaire and his Wi-Fi router is a piece of shit.
I know, man.
Dude, and he's out of bounds. He just caught an out of bounds shot because you weren't anywhere when we were doing count.
I was in the cell watching my TV.
Sure. You heard that one before, man.
You got it so good now. You could have just called Elon Musk and have him give you Starlink, man, like right now.
Yeah, did you not just call up your boy?
Yeah, he come over and fix the router.
You know what, dude? Have you ever been that guy? One day I get up and I'm on the call out sheet. It says go up to medical. It's got my name, my number, all of that. So I go up to medical, and when I get there, the woman says to me, nah, you're not on the call out. And I go, no. She goes, nope. So I go back. This is at Victorville. So I go back to unit 4. I got nothing to do. And I go into the unit, and instead of going to unit 4 downstairs, I go up in the cage on the outside to the one upstairs. I live downstairs. And I just did a little bit of dope. And I started to sort of catch a bit of a nod in there and hang out. And while all this is going on, they are freaking out. And they have done census about 5 times, and they're counting me in this cell with the dude I'm with.
Yeah.
So like it got all bad, dude. And when they finally figured out where I was, they pulled me and I went straight from there directly to the captain's office where he puts a cup up on the table and he goes, "You want to save me $40?" And I go, "Oh, it's gonna melt a hole in that cup." I'm like, "I'll save you the $40, bro. I'm dirty." And then he made me pee in it anyway. Did you attend religious services when you were incarcerated? Apparently, Casper did because he wanted some steak once a year. And does the prison hold separate services with the same religion for different cars? No. So if you're a Christian, you're going to be going to religious services with black people, with white people, with Mexican people, all that. Same if you are. Now, there are certain religions that you're not going to see anybody there that isn't white, like the Odinists. That car, have you ever seen anybody in the Odinist car that wasn't white? I mean, that's a pretty white religion.
Yeah.
That's that is a white boy religion, and but that's practice. There's if you have a religion and you want to practice it, they're going to help you do it. Plain and simple.
Yeah. At least in the States and some, Indians, like Native Americans.
Yeah,
that was big.
I think they're really the ones that got all that changed, aren't they? Somebody did.
They like when we were at Black Canyon, those guys would go out to the sweat lodge and they would be given tobacco, and everyone always goes, it's not real tobacco. I used to buy those pouches for $300. They're real tobacco. They were bugler. That's what they were giving them. They were giving them a pouch.
It's not bitter root. It's not stay, whatever they said. Yeah.
Nope, it's bugler.
Wood shavings. No.
Yeah, $300 a pack is what they were selling it for. And the guy would say to me, "Man, I'm in real trouble with the fellas, dude. If I get caught selling this stuff," I'm like, "Bro, you ain't getting caught. Like, I'm not sharing it." I'm big chiefing in my cell all alone.
It sets it off, man. It sets it off.
Yeah, no question. But the only religion I've ever seen get hosed in the BOP is Rastafarians. And when you get your little handbook and you break down, it'll tell you all the religious services. When you get to Rastafarians, it will say, we hook you up with this meal. You get this. They go, there's like 4 banquets a year or something like that. But it says right below it, but you ain't smoking no weed. There isn't going to be any cannabis. That may change with the legalization of it or whatever. But as of this moment, the federal government considers that a Schedule I narcotic. But I did not attend religious services in spite of the fact that I'm a religious cat. And it was because I struggle with the F-bombs that are part of the service. I just kind of feel weird listening to it. And it's really a kind of, it happens at every single one of these I've ever been to. There are guys yelling F and A. It sounds like you're more at the Big Lebowski than you are at a religious ceremony. Fellow inmates with the stupidest crime and unfair sentences. Oh, what a great question.
That is.
I've told this one on here before. I'll go just real quick. I told this one on here before. The guy's last name was Ice. Real, true story. That's his last name. And he was in there on a 3-strike life.
Yep.
Strikes for drugs. And when he brought out his paperwork, he had 2 strikes. There nowhere in his paperwork anywhere was there a 3rd strike. He got busted once for a predicate crime for weed, and then he got busted for some ice, for some meth. And those were the only 2 crimes on there. And I said to him, "Bro, how long have you been down? 14 years or 17 years or something?" And he hadn't appealed. It's like, dude, you don't have what was the 3rd strike? He goes, "Yeah, I kept telling everybody that." That was probably the worst as far as just unfair sentence. That one, that one killed me.
I think it was 3 cookies or a pack of those grandma cookies you could buy at 7-Eleven or whatever. It was a 2-pack of cookies. Guy got life.
Because it was his 3rd strike?
Yep. Piece of pizza. Theft. Yep.
Wow. Man, that's nasty.
I was in a federal holding with a guy that he was on his property. He was getting antlers, and he was out there just to get off carcasses. Yeah, and he was butted up against the national park, Yellowstone National Park. But he was just out there just getting antlers off these carcasses out on his property, and they locked him up for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they locked him up for it. And I can't remember what it was.
Gooey duck.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that were in for that too. They're going out
Yeah.
and getting gooey ducks in the feds.
On the beach?
Yep.
Wow.
The feds, there's a lot of guys in there. I knew one guy that was on. He had 10 years. It was his second or third shot for going out and getting them. Apparently, they sell for a lot of money. It's usually Asian guys that are doing it in there. The other one that was incredible, and you might even know the cat. He's been a member of every single organization. He's been a member, to the best of my knowledge. He has tipped up with everybody at one time or another. I'm not exaggerating. His name's Weasel. And he's got the ink from everybody he's ever joined. Big, tall dude. But Weasel was in a halfway house. And he went to the bank. He had a job. He went to the bank because he wanted to get him a little bag of dope. And he said, I'd like to take out the money in the account. And the woman said, there's no money in the account. That account's overdrawn. Not only do you not have any money in there, but you owe us about $150. He went, well, then you're just going to have to give me all the money you got. For real. He's got his ID, his account number. He lives in a halfway house.
Yeah.
I saw his paperwork. Like I said to him,
yeah.
There's no way this is true. And he shows me the paperwork. And even the feds, like it wrote in it, this was the easiest investigation of a bank robbery in history.
Yeah.
We drove from there to the halfway house where he was. Right? Like he even
crazy.
So that's
was
probably
he high?
I came across.
For unfair
or what?
Oh, he was higher than the prime interest rate, to be sure.
Sorry, Casper.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. And then the most unfair sentence I seen was this dude named Jason. We called him Sparky. He, because of the group that he was associated with, he got 30 years for a Kevlar vest.
Oh
wow.
No.
Yeah.
Yep. If he'd have been a regular Joe, he would have got, I don't know, like 3 years or something like that.
Exactly.
You know, because he was a felon, but because of who he was associated with, which, you know, it was a white supremacist gang. He got 30 years.
Yeah, that's
for a bulletproof vest.
And he probably really needed it. I mean, those guys throw a lot of lead around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there was also Bobby Hill, who called up the White House.
What the hell, Bobby? What the hell?
Bobby Hill. He called up the White House and he said, he was not bright. But he could memorize anything. He was a very odd guy. But
at Black Canyon, Bobby Hill?
What's that?
Black Canyon, Bobby Hill?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember him, dude. I
remember him threatening the White House. He called up and threatened the White House and said, he was going to take out not only the person in office, but the next one coming in.
What the hell, Bobby? I used to always say that to him too. What the hell?
Not the brightest bulb, right?
No.
But they put him in prison for that. Like that guy in Florida that they're just talking about that just said stupid stuff on Facebook. I got news for you, bro. You're going away. They don't play. They don't play with that. If you say let this be a warning to everybody in the good old USA. I don't care how much you dislike somebody in office. If you take the time to write down that you hope something bad happens to them, you're going to eat really bad hamburgers every Wednesday for about 3.5 years. The Con Air food. I love the most amazing stuff because we used to keep it. We keep it on in every kitchen in the BOP. We've got a bunch of them in there in case you go on lockdown. That stuff can stay in there for 5 years, and that bread will be bread when you open it. I don't know what's going on with that, but that stuff you can't make it go bad. There are some
even the bologna you get at the store, man. It's the shelf life on it is months.
Yeah, well, the stuff in the feds, there's a really good chance that stuff was packaged during the Carter administration. Have you ever seen the color of that stuff? Like you get on Con Air, whenever they throw me that
you need it on the plane.
I say, I'm taking the cookies, brother. You can have anything else you want. I want the cookies and the water. You can have the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know what? I started liking prison or jailhouse bologna sandwiches was the LA County Jail. Because when you first get booked in, it takes like 36 hours to get booked in. Like you have to go and you go from room to
as many of them as you want.
Yeah, they're called line sandwiches because every corner and every little new room you come into, there's a orderly inmate there with a sack lunch, and you'll have them. You'll be like this, and I would take everybody, because no one's eating them.
Right.
I'd be like, I'll take those. I love bologna sandwiches.
In the holdover where I waited to go to the bed, they had what they called cat food sandwiches. And what it was all of the casinos would give them the ends of all of the meat. So whether it was ham or turkey or whatever, the ends of all of those got donated to the prison, and they would grind them up and make like a ham salad sandwich or whatever out of it.
Yep.
And somehow I got to a point where I loved those sandwiches. It was one of the only things ever locked up that I like. Why do I think a lot of people convert to Islam? Because in there they have a rule. Anything you did before you converted, that doesn't count against you. So there are people who go in and go, well, I was pretty bad to kids, but that was before I came across Allah. And there are organizations that absolutely will allow that to fly. And that does have a lot to do with it. There also is an element to the fact that just like prison gangs or just like Christianity or anything else, there's a lot of guys that are going in here that have never had any kind of guidance in their life of any kind. And whether that comes from somebody that's trying to teach them about religion and yoga, or if it's somebody that wants to teach them about, Nazism and Hitler, if there are men there that want to act like a role model to a lot of these youngsters that are coming in, then they're going to tip up and they're going to find a father figure in places they probably shouldn't.
Yep.
I think. I've never seen the feds make a Rastafarian cut their hair. And I knew a couple of guys. I told the story when I went to the special management unit. There was a dude getting off, and his dreads were dragging 6 inches on the ground. I mean, wow. I watched Big Meat step on one and take it right out the guy's head. Took it right off the guy's head.
That's
he had really, really long dreadlocks.
Yeah, if they don't have access to salt water, like the ocean, man, they get bad, man. Yeah. They really get bad. But I don't know.
But I've never made it, at least in the feds. Now, when I was in the state joint, when you came in, you lost any facial hair and you cut your hair. And the only people they did not do that to were natives. Natives did not have to cut their hair. But I was a white boy. I was a white boy with long hair, and I got in there and they handed you the clippers and went, "Go, you're doing it." Everybody's ID looked the same. Except I had a great big black eye. I told you that.
You can tell.
Hey, if they'd have got to me, I would have said, "Yeah, get these eyebrows too, man. What's up?"
Hey, you may as well trim that up.
I would have. Right? I would have, man.
I was there when you did that. I remember you coming back in, and I went, "You look like Homer Simpson, bro." You scared me a little.
Don't.
Had something to do with the hat size too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what does it say on the Alice one? 10 in this size. 10 his is a 14. He's got a size 14 dome.
You could always tell somebody who's been in a while because how long their hair was.
I saw a lot of natives. I actually had a cellmate, and when his mother-in-law passed, he cut his hair. Like when there was really traumatic things that happened in their life, they will then cut. But he had hair past his butt, and his mother-in-law died, and he wouldn't cut it all off. Started all over again.
That was real big. And I mean, if you touched a Native American's hair when I was in the state, they would have done everything they could to kill you. That's part of their religion. When you become a certain age, you go up to warrior, and then you get that status. You have to have your hair, but after so long, you can do what you want. They would absolutely try to do anything they could to you. They would go after you, all of them.
Yeah, crazy.
Casper, how'd you meet your current girl?
So funny story. So I was tattooing on this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I work with this guy. He wants to know if you can come to his house and do a tattoo." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I go to his house, and he's married, and she comes in, and I meet her, and she was beautiful, but I was respectful. And then we all went out to a bar one time, and then I didn't see her for probably a year or two. The guy who I tattooed's wife, and then I was with my sponsor having coffee, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, are you Sam, the tattoo guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Hey, I'm Mariana Arthur's ex-wife," and I was like, "Oh, ex-wife, huh?" So anyway. We kind of, it wasn't like that actually. So she wanted to get a tattoo, and we did a tattoo consultation. We ended up talking about God the whole time and Jesus. And so, she was kind of like on the fence with her spirituality. And I was like, I just got baptized, so I was like on fire.
And you have a lot to talk about.
We talked for like 2 hours. And then we rescheduled the consultation so we could get, talking about the tattoo. And we end up talking about God again, and that, and just personal stuff. And we just hung out every day after that. I was actually in sober living, and we just talked constantly, and we realized we couldn't be away from each other. And then
I love that. No, I love that. So how long? When did this happen? What year was this?
This was in 2020. 2020.
Nice.
Yeah.
A hot minute.
Yep. So where was I at? So there was a pretty big age difference, and so we like kind of fought it for a long time. And so we just went and talked to my pastor. She started coming to church with me and was a presence in the church with me. And we just talked to our pastor about like, hey, there's an age difference. We feel funny about it. Both of us do. Neither one of us were looking to be in a relationship. But we just don't, we're in love, is this an issue? And he's like, no, man, not even a little bit, and I think what it is that she's like just mature enough and I'm just immature enough to where we like meet in the middle. We really do. I'm not a creep. I'm not driven. My libido doesn't drive me at all. I mean, she'd be the first one to tell you it doesn't drive me enough.
A decade too late for that.
Yeah. She kind of missed the train.
That's classic.
But
I love that.
Yeah.
What's the age difference?
How big is the age difference?
26 years.
26? Oh, it's not
26
bad.
years.
That's not bad. You freaking pervert. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
Seriously, what's the matter with you?
How old are you?
I'm 56.
Oh, so you're a year older than me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you know I'm gonna be younger than both of you forever, right? I'm never gonna catch up.
So what? You never had a TV.
The Kevlar vest.
I don't dye my hair. Anything. This is all natural.
I don't dye my hair either. This is completely natural.
Yeah.
So the Kevlar vest is legal for all of you, but not for us. Once you become a convicted felon, shut up, hair boy. Once you become a convicted felon, you can no longer possess a Kevlar vest because it is assumed that a regular person out just living their life probably doesn't need a Kevlar vest. That's the kind of thing that you need if you intend to go up against somebody that's probably going to be shooting at you. And that's the kind of thing they assume you're probably in the commission of a felony. So if you are caught with a Kevlar vest and you are a convicted felon, it's kind of like being in possession of a firearm. Now, if you happen to be a validated member of a STG, a specific threat group, like a gang, then they can enhance you for having that thing and break off an exorbitant amount of time.
5 years or more.
Yeah, where it can get brutal. In the feds, they can throw away the key if they catch you with a, especially if by some chance you, because they'll enhance you if you have a weapon as well. Then they assume you're going to war, and that war was with a cop. I mean, that's kind of the assumption that they make, fair or otherwise. COs, this is a very new thing. This was happening right as I was leaving the BOP because they say it's an acronym for big old sack of, right?
Shite.
Or a sorry SOB backwards. That's another one that they'll say. But every cop I knew in the feds, I mean, I was old, and they call you convict and you call them boss, and nobody gets upset about that at all. That was just
never seen one cop ever get upset about it. And they've been calling them boss in the South forever, right?
Texas, all the
and in the feds, almost everybody says boss. Occasionally, you'll come across somebody who's young, gung-ho, and straight back from the military who'll say to you, "I ain't your boss. You call me correction officer or sir," and you're just like, "Whatever, boss."
How about punk? How about that?
Yeah, punk work for you. Screw. How would that be? Or turnkey. Yeah. They hate that. They're not a
turnkey.
Turnkey.
That was the thing. I mean, I never understood why, those guards thought that their uniforms protected them. I mean, you treat me with disrespect, you're getting disrespected back.
Oh
Period.
no, that's real, to be sure. Yep.
Yep.
And I love the guys who would say, "Don't hold my uniform against me. I'm not going to hold your uniform against you. I'll treat you like a dude. You treat me like a dude. And if you act like a fool," I watched a black CO take off his stuff and go in a cell with a dude, get his ass kicked, come back out, and not do anything about it. Like, put his equipment back on, did his thing, and everybody in there was just like, "Bro, mad respect for the cop, man.
Mad respect, dude.
Mad respect for the cop. Nobody ever gave him a lick of crap ever again. You know, he did it like a convict would, you know, but he got it handed to him. He did not do well in there. But, you know, to come out and then not rate the guy up or do any of that, you're instantly considered a cool cop for the rest of the time you're in there.
Yep. You know? And he might have did it just for that reason.
Yeah, he very well may have done it for that reason. You know, I've seen some cops do some cool things to fix problems, like where they screwed up really bad. I've seen some cops do, you know, I watched a guy go down to the shoe, get a dude out that he had put in the shoe, bring him back, and then he gave chew to a bunch of people, and basically everything we did the next 2 weeks. Like, he came in and I'm like this, straining a bag of wine, and he was like, "All right, fellas, take it easy." You know, turned around and walked out. He's like, "I'm not writing up anybody for nothing."
Oh yeah.
They want to go home at the end of the day the same as everybody else. They want, you know, you heard the guy that Casper was interviewing. He said, you know, he's almost at the, I don't remember how he said it, but like he was close to retirement age, and for them that's like probation or parole or whatever. You know, that's their getting out. That's their that's their freedom.
Here's a picture of me and my wife. That's at the golf course. Yeah.
Well, your daughter looks good.
You spoiled. Yeah, where is it? Golf course.
Yeah,
man. I wish your boys could see you now, dude.
Right.
Oh man,
like hospital cotton.
Dude, I got the nicest set of Clevelands this year. They're so nice, man.
Did you hook anything off into the rough? Were you complaining about that, or?
No, I never hooked.
I'm just busting your shit.
Yeah, I'll show you how to play golf, Casper.
Russ, what did you go to prison for, and how long did you do?
I did, and I was innocent.
Of course.
Hi, Jeanette. That's my girl right there.
Anybody in there that wasn't?
Right. Everybody.
What were you innocent of?
3 assaults with a deadly weapon, lots of drugs, and some other stuff.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
Yeah, that old chestnut. Nothing to get, you know, all tipped up about.
Did you ever get caught up in a prison riot? I have.
Yes.
And welcome. You look fantastic in green. I think all of us at one time or another have been in a prison riot. I think that's fairly safe to say. And if you've done any length of time, if you've done more than a couple of years, or you were at a custody level that's higher, then it probably happened at some point. And I don't know about you fellas, but I absolutely hated it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
the riot?
surreal. It's really surreal, yeah. I mean, if one of your homeboys go, or your cellie goes, or something like that, you got to go. And
my friends go, I go. So it don't matter. I don't let them get a one-on-one. Inside, it's just what it is. I was in a
state joint, and we were set up in like quads, right? So everybody in there is handing everybody blades and taping them in your hands and everything else. It was like, if I could have found a place to hide, I'm just keeping it real, dude. If there was anything I could have done to get out of that, but there wasn't. And then I was outside, like, one of the older guys said to me, "Look, man, if you stay on the outside, you just like don't go wading into the middle of it." And then somebody tried to stick me, and it changes the whole thing. And then you start getting a little bit more enthusiastic about the entire project, right? You know, once you realize that someone's wanting to hurt you, it kind of changes. I never got stuck or anything in I've been stabbed a couple of times in prison, but never in a riot.
I've been cut a little bit in a fight, but never stabbed. Been shot at.
I've been in a few riots, but you know they were.
Look at
hit
that!
By a block gun.
Oh, the block gun! You know something? I
got a great block gun story.
People shot with that.
So do I.
Nice. I want to hear both of them. Casper, lead off. Let's hear what you. Let's start her off, Casper. Give us your block.
Hey, so I was in transport. So you know how have you ever been in a transport where like one highway patrol will drop you off at a county jail to wait for the next highway patrol to pick you up and take you to the next 200 miles. Have you ever been in a transport like that? Anyway, I'm in Natrona County. It's Casper, Wyoming. And they dropped me off in this jail. They got these wristbands. I'm being a hard number. I'm like, I ain't wearing your stupid wristband. And so they throw me in the hole. So I'm in the hole with this kid, right? He's a youngster. He's just like a Wyoming hillbilly dude, right? And it's 9/11. It's like, September 11th. So I'm bored. I need some entertainment. So I pump this kid's nuts up enough to, when we come out for our hour, to take his towel, like around in each hand and go to each sprinkler and go hit the sprinkler and pull him down, right? Bam, bam. So it like breaks all the sprinkler heads, right?
Things worse than anything in the whole world.
Oh man, it was great. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna do it, right? I'm like, all right. I go, you don't have a hair in your Girl Scout ass if you don't go do this, bro. So he goes out there and does it. Bam, bam. And they come in there, they're like, lock down. And I'm in the shower because I want to get my shower real quick, right? So I'm in the shower. They come in and he's just standing in the middle of going, 9/11. And dude, I come out of the shower and I come down the stairs and the sergeant's like, he's like, I know you put that kid up to that. He's like, I know you put that kid up to that. And I was like, man, that's on the kid. I didn't do anything. He's like, I know you put that kid up to that. And I was like, man, F you, you punk, right? And I'm like going to get in his face and kind of closing the gap a little bit. And the dude behind him just goes over his shoulder. So bam.
No way.
And then his buddy comes around. I'm like in this much water, right? Then his buddy comes around and just tases me, bro. Just take all this water, right? And I just go so splash, and I'm like jittering in the water. And yeah, it was bad, dude.
Tasers and water are terrible.
Biggest, so I got hit with a block gun and a taser all at the same time because I was bored and wanted to watch this kid break some sprinklers.
How many did he break? Did he get through a couple?
Oh yeah, there was like 5 on our run. So you know how like the ceiling will be a little lower where the upstairs run is? Do you know what I mean? Where people walk
exactly
to get
what you mean.
Yeah,
you know exactly what you mean.
There was sprinklers on those, so those weren't that high. Yeah. In the unit, the unit like in the central part was super high.
Oh, they got
but those were low enough to where you could get the towel.
It's this disgusting black.
Oh, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. Yeah,
I did it as a youngster. I was locked in a shoe, and they took away my mattress, and you don't get it until the end of the day. So you got no mattress, you got no nothing, and I'm kicking the door, and they're ignoring me. So I had nothing. I took my shoe off, and I got up onto the metal crapper, and I'm leaning out, and I'm smacking this thing, and I couldn't believe it. I'm hitting this with everything I got, and I couldn't get it to break. So I straddled it, right? So I'm right underneath it, and I smacked that thing, and it hit me, knocked me off that thing onto the ground. The water was ice cold. The room was frigid. And when they came by, I'm just in the corner like this, getting hit with the water. And the dude was like, we'll be back in about 15 minutes, man. Make yourself comfortable. They were in no hurry at all. I'm just in there covered in this funk you can't get off, stinking like crap. And then they hit me for $186 on the books.
Oh,
Price for them to reload that with fire retardant and get everything sealed back up. It was not one of my smarter moves. I also destroyed a mattress earlier in the day. It was
I don't know if you guys in the feds, what kind of building setup was it, or was it dorms, or what? I mean, where you were mostly at, or cells?
Yeah, no dorms. We one big rectangle with like 4 poles in the middle of it, or an MC Escher painting with stairways that go everywhere and little tiers that go off of them, depending on an FCI or a USP.
Right. So you've been to like you've been to Vacaville, so you know what the buildings look like. They have the single building. You walk in, you've got that
rotunda.
The shack, or where you go through the Sally Port.
Yep.
and they got the tower up there. They can see everything, and it's got shotgun slots or gun slots. And
Yeah.
these two guys start fighting right downstairs, right by the TV, where the guard can't see. This guard took, and they used to shoot rubber balls or
Yeah.
wooden blocks,
Yep.
hence the name block gun. And this guard put this gun out like that, turned it this way, and fired. And it took the guy's chest, skin, and filleted it.
Oh no.
Just like 12 inches of it,
Jeez,
just folded over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those blocks.
crazy.
There's
Yeah,
a
that
famous
was my
case.
interesting.
The
Yeah.
guy sued
So
and made a ton of money. A guy that lost one of his boys. They had a mattress and they were barricaded in the cell and they were trying to go in and get him, and the mattress slipped just a little bit. And they got him with a block gun and removed his right one.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Straight up.
Crazy.
And he got a settlement. They gave him like $30-something thousand. And I said, was that worth that? How did that work out for you? 5 memberships. That's like hot sauce packets. You gotta love that, huh?
Thank you. Excuse me.
Yeah, that is so cool. And by the way, just real quick, because I starred some of these, but let me do this one first, because I assure you that you do not need to have your heart doesn't need to hurt for Reese. I promise. Here's the thing, people. This is a battle of good and evil. We knew it was coming. We called it before it happened. This isn't a shocker for us. And you know something? It's there's something really beautiful about being on the side of good. Because I'll tell you what, man, it's not how I spent the vast majority of my life, right?
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot nicer. And that's where she is. She also put up, my girl also put up that she loves your wife, which I thought was pretty cool. To everyone.
Just real quick, it's like getting pulled over and like not having drugs in your car and having a license and having your insurance. It's that comfortable, safe feeling that it's just amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that feeling of I'm a citizen. Do what you're going to do. Take your best shot. I'm a citizen. I don't break the law. I don't do anything wrong.
I'm a citizen.
And then when you're doing something that's righteous, when you're actually, look, people, what we're talking about is pretty disgusting stuff. This isn't rinky dink. This isn't the world's oldest profession, right? The word recruiting got added to that statute for a reason. If you're out recruiting people, we're talking about ugly stuff. Human tea is disgusting. And it causes a lot of, we get a lot of flack when we're over the target. To everyone, I got jury duty in February. I've got to go back to the same courthouse my son was sentenced. Do you think if I explain that, I can get off serving? Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. In fact, you don't even have to explain it. If you just say, you know what, my son was sentenced in this court, they're going to go, I don't want this person.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, let me get somebody off. Yeah.
You talk about real quick getting out of there, because they're not going to be able to get a beat on whether that means, you're going to say this person shouldn't be getting convicted, or I hate this entire system and I'm going after. They're not going to want you around. They will. I promise you're not going to have to worry about that. And then if all else fails, you know what I mean? You give them, there's always a couple guaranteed get out of jail ones. You say something really stupid like, that dude in Germany kind of had his stuff together, didn't he? You know what I mean? Like one of those kind of statements that usually get you off a jury pretty quick. I'm not trying to.
Greatest leader in the world was Mr. Hitler.
That dude had a lot on the ball, and he had a great singing voice. I'm surprised you didn't know that. It doesn't take a whole lot of stupid comments to guarantee you're getting booted. Have I ever told you my escape?
Brother, go out there mowing the lawn with
got a ton of fertilizer.
Can you share your screen real quick for Russ?
What's that?
Can you share my screen real quick for Russ? I have put up a picture of the. That's what most of the Fed units look like.
That's exactly what a Fed unit looks like.
Yep.
Okay, we didn't have this happy-go-lucky desk area or couch or whatever you guys want to call it.
That's where you check your emails, bro.
Yeah. And then
we didn't have a pillar.
That is a shoe cell, but it usually will have a bunk bed in it.
Yeah.
And then
that's how,
that's a shoe cell without a shower.
That's a shoe cell, and if I had to guess, I would say that.
And that's Phoenix right there.
Yeah, that is Phoenix.
That's the luxury right there.
That
You
is
got
luxury, bro.
porcelain
Make no
toilets.
mistake.
Come on
That's
now.
as nice
With
a
a
sell as you're
toilet
getting
lid,
in the BOP.
with a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Huh?
kidding me?
And a medicine chest with a real mirror.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Black Canyon was a slice of heaven.
Yep. Slice of heaven.
And when we got
many
there,
times-
they still had
how many-
ceiling fans.
Yeah.
Ceiling fans. Give me a break. And you want to flip me off over a TV? Come on now.
Hey, I was only there about 6 months, brother. And then I was
And this
at
is
USP.
Leavenworth. That's
is
Leavenworth.
That looked like Folsom.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
the old school, man. There's
Yep.
That's how
And then-
Lewisburg's shoe looks too. That's the shoe at Lewisburg.
There's
That's an
Brooklyn.
MDC. Yep.
Now, do you have any of the state joints?
One more. That's here at my house right now. No, just kidding.
That's your bathroom.
And then, hey, there's my buddy.
I know him.
If I had $1 for every dude I saw that had that tattooed on their forehead.
Right. I was just gonna say, how many people do you know with that kind of symbol on their forehead?
I'd be super chatting right now. I'd be handing out memberships. I knew a bunch of guys that thought that was a good idea. There's one from the what were you thinking? Honestly, I'd love doing this. I know it gets people really, really angry, right? But I used to go up to people and go, "You got to walk me through this, dude. I'm not trying to be a dick." But you got up one morning, you're putting some cornflakes in a bowl, you're putting milk on it. You're like, "I'm gonna get F off on my forehead," right? I head down to Casper's cell. Walk me through the thought process when that seemed like a really good idea. Right? Help me out on this one. I gotta know. And no one ever wants to give you a solid answer on that. What food did you miss the most when you were inside? Anything Italian?
Yeah.
Because their pizza sucks.
Yeah.
Their spaghetti sucks. Their lasagna sucks. Like they don't make anything Italian that tastes Italian. They really don't. And it's probably because all of the cooks are usually Mexican.
Yeah, watery spaghetti.
Worst spaghetti in the world.
Yeah, worst.
Yeah, watery spaghetti.
To this day, I have a real hard time with spaghetti. Like it destroyed it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People always like, "Oh, I can't wait to get a steak." I miss steak. Yeah, I love a good steak, and I've had some of the best steaks in the world up here in Montana. Yeah. Best meat. I feel like best meat in the world. And there's some Wagyu ranches here up here too.
Right. Yeah.
But I really missed like good sub sandwiches from like downtown.
Yeah. Anything that like solid meat, anything that had good meat in it. You're not getting anything in prison that had good meat.
Yeah.
You're just not. And if they did, you remember, because you and I were in at this time, but the guy from Leavenworth got busted. The food dude at Leavenworth ended up going to prison. He had like 40 refrigerators full of stolen meat. He was ordering really good stuff, selling it out the back door and feeding the guys garbage. And that happens at a lot of prisons. It's just that dude got so greedy. You can't show up to work in a Mercedes. Keep driving your Chevy. Don't be stupid.
No, not when you're a G4 or G5. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, a lot of these guys start getting really stupid. They're selling the stuff out the back door to relatives, Anybody ever refuse to share anything? You mean inside? Most guys don't share anything inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ever refuse to share anything?
You gotta really know somebody to ask. You know what I mean? Like it's just bad form. You don't do a lot of borrowing in prison. You don't go, "Hey man, can I borrow your radio?" Because there's always that chance you're gonna bust this dude's radio. And then you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt. And by the way, if you get a phone call from somebody on the inside and they told you that they accidentally broke somebody's radio, they're getting high. Sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick. But how many times have you been on the phone and you heard somebody on there going, "Hey,
oh, yeah, dude.
They were fighting and all I was trying to do was stop them. And my friend Larry's MP3 player hit the ground. It's a $700 MP3 player."
Mm.
Yeah. I had a friend Doyle. He was a real bad H addict, and his mom lived, what do you call it? Disability check to disability check. She weighed like 400 or 500 pounds. Ooh. She was really unhealthy, and he used to like yell at her, disrespectfully yell at you. "You need to send me this money. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me." And we ended up we paid it debt. Oh yeah, we beat the brakes off. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen it 100 times. There's nothing worse than watching somebody work somebody. So there's a person, and the guy's mom's name was Toy. I'll go only that far, but he gives me the number, and he's in the shoe and he's in trouble. So he says to me, "Can you call my mom because he's
I'll be
on like
right back.
25. Okay, he's on like 25-year phone restriction. He can't make a phone call until 2048 or something. So I said, yeah, I'll call your mom and I'll tell her you're in the shoe and what's going on. So I call her. I go, hey, Toy, you don't know me. My name is Rock. She goes, how much do you need? What's your register number? And no, your kid's in the shoe with me. Like, I don't need anything. And she's like, no, just give me the amount and the number and do it quickly because I'm getting ready right now to go in. I said, hey, your kid's in the shoe. I don't need any money. And then when I talked to him outside, I said, bro, I don't know how many people are taxing your mom, but like, I mean, instantly just went to where do I got to send the money and how much? Like if I had been a dirtbag,
man,
yeah, I would have just been.
That hurts my heart,
but
brother.
he had the worst habit, and his mom just facilitated it. Like she didn't have a problem with that. Casper, what were you charging in there? Was it a 100 paper? Was it get me wasted for the day, or were you charging by the piece? How were you doing it?
Yeah, I just charged. It was usually for either stamps, which is our currency, or the actual drug itself.
Right.
And I tattooed. I always want to say thousands. It probably is, and because I don't want to exaggerate, but I bet you I did 2 to 3 tattoos a day,
right,
forever and ever and ever.
I don't know how it possibly couldn't be that much. So at Terre Haute, I had only for 3 months. I had a cellmate who was a tattoo artist, and he was a good one. He was the worst businessman I ever met in my life, but he was an incredible tattoo artist. And
you remember his name?
His last name was Frazier. His
what block were you on?
The one that used to be the Cutter block. It's directly across from the gym.
There's M Murder. M's across from the gym.
That's what when I got there, they were just taking it away. It used to be the block where they had a program there called Bridges or something like that. But it was for people in there that self-harmed. They had just moved everybody out of there, and it was the gross. I'm sorry, but it was a nasty place to move into, man. So but they redid all of they were redoing all of that. They were trying to go to a number system. But I was directly across from the gym.
Yeah.
The weirdest units in the BOP, they're horseshoe shaped, and that place is just so primed for bad things to happen. It wasn't built intelligently. Like the stairways to where you go. It's like Lewisburg's the same way.
How you have to walk through.
It's just sketchy, man. It's just an old sketchy prison. Honestly, you start going upstairs, you're like, oh man, how many people got stabbed in this?
Yeah.
For real.
They have a movie theater there too that they don't use anymore. Yeah, Terre Haute. Yeah,
same as Lewisburg. Lewisburg's got a massive movie theater, and you know where else does? And you know who still uses it? Lompoc. Lompoc's got a movie theater. You're getting me to go sit in a dark movie theater in prison? Yes. Yeah, that's gonna happen, dude. I don't even like being in a TV
because people got booked in the corridor and in the theater.
Yeah. I mean, you walk in and it smells like a copper penny. You're like, I don't.
That's blood.
I don't want to see this movie. It stinks in here. I read a great thing. There was a history of Lewisburg. You can look it up online and stuff. But in the 70s, the warden went out onto the stage for the 4th of July and said, we have only taken 2 dead people out of Lewisburg in the last 12 months or something like that. And everybody cheered. And he said, so we want to reward you. We know you're making an effort. The Beach Boys, like literally, and turned, and there was the Beach Boys on stage. And while that was going on, they opened the gate and they brought in a couple of motorcycle clubs that lined up their Harleys and all this. It's like, are you kidding? Like, what the hell happened to the feds? I'm reading this stuff going, what? They don't even let you. I mean, there's not any fun. They've got a no fun mandate in the feds that is just the worst. How many inmates did tats that were actually good like you? I heard the one story. Just there's a lot of bad tattoo artists, but there's a lot of people that are in the process of getting better.
Yeah, thousands of people.
Guys with upside down tattoos on their legs right here on the front by their knees. A
lot of guys practicing on themselves.
Yep. That or on an orange or what was it? Casper, come on, help me with this fruit.
Pig.
Huh?
Pigs.
No.
Akiwajamo?
No, it's
Jamo?
God bless you.
Yeah, right.
Sounds
Kind
like
of
a
like
venereal
Salo.
disease.
What is it?
Pork worm?
No,
Pass the point,
why would
Mama.
it have to be foreign? It's American.
No, I don't know, brother. I when people tell me they practice on fruit, it blows me away. I'm like, what? Really? That's
Really?
crazy.
Yeah, that's it. Seen that new.
I'm considering applying for a county jail nurse RN position. Any thoughts or advice? You know something? I think you're going to be surprised at how respectful most people are. County jail's a little tougher because you're going to see a lot of people coming in from the street, which means you're going to see people drunk. You're going to see people high. You're going to see people that just got beat up by their husbands or their wives. It's going to be an eyeful. It's going to be an adventure, but
yeah,
you can make it a better place.
I tattoo on a lot of nurses that work in jails, and they the biggest complaint I hear is never inmate related. Well, no, I shouldn't say inmate related, never inmate related. Sometimes you'll get, a JCat, someone who's crazy and who will, if you don't have their medication, they might take flight on you or something crazy like that, or get really angry. But there's usually an officer with you, so you're usually pretty safe, like during med pass. But it's usually just the administrative, that no jail runs, smoothly.
At all.
Understaffed, they might overwork you. I don't know where you're at. What was her name? Kelly?
Yes.
I don't know where you're at, Kelly, but just expect it to be a cluster F.
Yeah. The other thing is, my advice, Kelly Bell, would be as you approach food slots, get the male cop in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and wear stuff that covers your butt, like a sweater.
Yeah, always. Yeah, and don't wear any scented anything.
Nope.
These guys, there's some weirdos in there, man. There's some weird people in there. You're in Hawaii. So I mean, honestly, so I've done a bunch of time with people that come from Hawaii. You guys have a huge ice problem. You have a massive, the worst I've ever seen. Honestly, everybody that I ever saw, because you guys do send a lot of people to the mainland. What's that?
Or shabu. They call it shaba or shabu.
Shabu.
Yeah. Some of the largest people in the world from there.
That stuff is gas, though.
Gas. In Victorville, like we had a big old car of people from Hawaii, and they called it shabibble is what they call it there. The shabibs. Yeah, the shabibs, the shabibble. But they do a lot of it. They really do.
That stuff really tasted like vanilla or coconut. It was so good. It had legs for days.
Thoughts on the J6 horror stories of facilities and treatment? I got news for you. Right? This is just kind of the way it is. We're seeing all of these people who get to highlight where they've been, right? Normally, no one that gets arrested on any particular day of the year, you're going to hear how they're treated. But now we know that on one day of 1 year, all of those people are telling you what it's like inside. Welcome to the world of every other person incarcerated in the United States of America today. It's ugly everywhere. You can't really make incarceration pretty. You can't, because you're getting all of these men that are at their worst. This is the lowest point of their life. They're on edge. They're angry. They're scared. They're pissed. And you're going to jam them all together and put them in environments that are not conducive to anything other than violence. And then you're going to get shocked when violence breaks out.
Yeah.
Right?
What is J6?
January 6th.
That would be January 6th, the people that got arrested for the protest that happened in Washington. And here's the thing. Yeah, without getting political, we had the FBI there. And there were a lot of guys doing a lot of weird stuff. And it seemed like they were trying to stoke up the people there. And that's disturbing, right? That's disturbing stuff. But the way those people were getting treated isn't unusual. The way that Sean Combs is getting treated isn't unusual. We're just seeing it highlighted because these people are famous. But if you're in prison today, you're having a bad day. They're not giving you a pillow to sleep on. Wrap your dome around that, right? The feds don't provide a pillow at any custody level. There are not pillows. So you're going to just do your whole sentence without a pillow. It's a hard thing to wrap your brain around, right? Why is this so dangerous? What's wrong with a pillow?
It's a little thing.
Know, man.
I used to get so excited when we'd get a shakedown and I'd come back and my pillow would have made it through. I'd be like, oh, hell yes. Right? Oh, hell yes. Find my wine, but leave that damn pillow, dude. I had one we called the cow.
Take everything else. Don't take my pillow, dude.
I had one we called the cow because I got all the stuffing out of a Unicorn, and I had black and white stuffing. So when you saw it stitched up, it looked like a black and white cow from the side. You could see the stuffing inside. We called it the cow, but it made it through seven shakedowns. And then on number 8, I got peeled for it. And I was pretty salty about it, man. You know, it was so nice to sleep with when I had it. But trying to sleep without a pillow, I mean, give that a try tonight. Give it a try for 15 minutes. That's the 3.
You can't.
Yeah,
on a 2-inch mattress.
Yeah, I challenge the 2-inch mattress. Just do it just for fun. Just like lay there for a second, and you'll be like, "What the heck?" Yeah. And then roll up a T-shirt and try to use that,
or a roll of toilet paper,
or jacket.
Yeah. I just happen to be a pillow making master. So
yeah, well, I made a lot of them my damn self. But for me, the jacket always went between my knees, like a body pillow. So I would have my state issue jacket between my knees, and then I would have my illegally purchased pillow underneath my head. And I remember being in there and going like this. I'm unwrapping toilet paper in the shoe, and I'm stuffing it into a pillowcase, and Casper's just doing this one. And I'm like, dude, what? And he's like, man, I've made pillows out of toilet paper. That's not going to work. You're wasting your time. I'm like, no, dude. He's like, you're wasting your time. And it did. It pissed me off. I wanted to kill him. I just had to flush like 6 rolls of toilet paper. It did nothing at all to make my head comfortable.
I was like, what is this dude doing right now? He's not making a pillow out of toilet paper. It's not going to work, dude.
I was trying. I definitely gave it hell. They don't give you anything. And I even had a medical deal that said I was supposed to get a pillow. And when I was in the shoe, you know what they would give me? An extra towel. Here you go.
Yeah.
Have a towel. Oh, sweet. Here I thought I was going to be
Isn't it crazy? How often do those, I can't remember the number of the form, whatever it was. How often do those work? Like, oh, hey, it says right here that I'm allowed to, these soft shoes,
right? Oh, I had a soft shoe pass.
Yeah, the soft shoe pass usually you got, but other people are like, well, we don't care about that paper. You're not getting a pillow. We don't care about that. You're not getting an orange at 12.
They fight you on the soft shoe pillow. There was that one jackass. Every time I went to check, right? Every time he'd go, I need to see your soft shoe pass. I'd be like, bro, I showed it to you 3 hours ago at lunch. You think I've lost it since then? Or it was a hustle? I need to see it. You pull it out and hand it to me. Like, you mother. I mean, you by the 5th day in a row. Well, that's what happened. That big riot where they cut the warden and all that. There was the guys from the southern part of the state who said, I swear to God, if this dude Pat searches me tomorrow, which happened to be Cinco de Mayo, but he said, if this dude Pat searches me tomorrow, because it's supposed to be random, and he was searching the same dude every single day. And when he did, the guy went like this, wham, and got him, and the boys came out like ants. I've never seen anything like it. They came from everywhere. It was terrible. A guy in cuffs, I watched a dude, right, that got 4-pointed at Lewisburg, and they left him there almost 2 weeks. Bringing food up like this to put on him. He was urinating and defecating on himself, but he stabbed the guy. And then when they got him up off the 4-point, face down, they got him up, hands cuffed behind his back, rashed down both legs. They marched him up and down the tier, right, with his pants around his ankles full of crap, telling everybody, come to the windows, get a good look at this, guys. Come on, come to the windows. Not joking you. Come on out here. This is what happens. You want to stab a cop. This is what's going to happen. You want to take a shot at one of us? This is what's going to happen.
I know.
You're just looking out the window going, damn, brother. Ooh, that looks like it itches. That's really going to be bad when it dries out.
Yeah, there's no caring about people, what happens to people in there. It's going to happen no matter what. Nobody's going to find out about it.
No.
Yep.
Nope.
That's right. That's right, Russ.
Well, no, I mean, Casper was there when I got knocked down the stairs and I was bruised to beat hell. And my wife at the time was an attorney, and she's trying to get people in there to take photos of me. And everyone in the cell with me is just going, they're not going to wait. They're waiting until those bruises are gone. And it was like 2 more days, and they showed up. They're like, hey, we need to get some pictures of you. I'm like, hey, good looking out, right? There's not a mark on me, man. They're low lives. They really are. They're low lives. How did I deal with migraines in prison? Did you ever get them? I didn't start getting migraines until I was on the street.
Yeah, a couple.
But you deal with any pain in there the same way you do out here. It's just that if you go to the doctor,
800. Yeah.
$2, and they're not going to give you anything for it. Drink
Nope.
more water.
And I used to get really bad migraine, you know, those blinding ones, you know, where just a little bit of light, just like, oh, it hurts.
Yep.
And I have just a little cocktail of ibuprofen and Tylenol with like 2 big glasses of water, and just, you know, close your eyes and lay down, and it generally will go away. Though, I mean, the worst of the worst. And it's probably really just calming your mind down, just being, you know, hydrated, and they'll go away. And like my wife gets pretty bad headaches sometimes, and I always ask her, did you take the, you know, the ibuprofen and Tylenol? Did you take any ibuprofen? And she's like, no. I'm like, just do it now, don't wait. But I do the same thing with my medication. I wait until I'm just like absolutely miserable, you know.
I had a toothache almost the entire time Casper was my cellmate. I mean, I would spend a couple hours a day with my mouth just with water running in it. It got to a point, honestly, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it had nothing to do with the homeboy thing. Casper was going to kill me. It'd be the middle of the night, and I'd be up there going, running the water, and he'd be like, really, Rock? You're like, dude, my mouth. So he finally just put his arm through. He's like, fix this guy's teeth, or I'm going to kill him. I can't be in here anymore, man. Like, it wasn't even nice. I'm not doing this anymore. Get him out of here and fix him right now. I swear to God, we're going to kill him. Get him out.
Yeah. They hated that, man.
But they did. They took me out of there.
Yeah.
He yanked my tooth. I came back and he's like, they fill it. I'm like, they pulled it. And I am happy about it.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
No, and he said to me, he goes, oh no, this tooth's in good shape. I'm like, well, then maybe fill it. And he's like, yeah, we don't do that. I can pull it for you. You know, he goes, how much more time have you got? I'm like, 3 years.
No, we're gonna do that.
3 years. I can tough that out. I'm like, nah, pull it. And then he says to me, get a look at the legs on this cowboy. He puts my tooth out. It's like, you know, big 3 things like this. I'm like, is that supposed to make me feel good? Because I'm not feeling good. You know, he's yarning on my head. And then he's picking on the black dude next to me who's going, quit being such a Mary. Look at him. I'm like, dude, I'm cool with you, bro. Like, I don't know. This guy's uncool. It's got nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Like, don't get mad at me, man. All bad.
That's
the only time I got headaches was when they screwed us on coffee. Like, you got you a 3-bag-a-week habit. And you go to the store and they go, oh, we didn't have Keefy. Well, did you put down something else? Like, did you just give me any coffee? Well, next week. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I had a coffee habit in there that I would get. I mean, if I didn't get, you know, my mud every morning,
John Wayne.
Terrible. Yeah, I would get coffee head.
3 scoops, 4 scoops.
Yeah, you want your spoon to stand up in it.
Yeah.
If the spoon stands up in it, you're good. It's the only drug you got.
Cadillac. You get your Cadillac going with a hot chocolate.
I got a Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Lighting a fire on the floor just to get heat, brother.
You didn't have a stinger.
I got a question. I got a question for you guys.
All right.
I should put it in the chat, but did you guys wash your guys' coffee cup, or did you just let it build up?
Well, I had the tumbler. They would sell in the store. You know, you could buy that little tumbler. 3 inches around, and it was like,
you can put pictures on the inside if you wanted or whatever.
And I had homeboys pick a, you know, OC or something
tattoo
like that on it. Yeah, I had a yellow one that I drank coffee out of that I never washed.
Yeah,
you know, I never washed.
Nobody washes their cups, their coffee cup, their cup. Yeah, ever. And if you can just put hot water in it and slur it around, and it will turn the same color as coffee. You start to look at it, and it's doing this on the inside. It's literally getting smaller. Have you ever seen, like, left a little bit of coffee in a cup, like, you know, for 2 days, you know, on how fast the bacteria grows in that? Think of all the bacteria that's in those cups, bro.
Dude, I had this old man celly for like 3 days, and I looked at the guy's cup, and I go, bro, how long have you had that? And he goes, oh, I bought it when I got here. It's not, you know, I didn't take it from another yard. And I'm like, how long have you been here? He's like, 11 years. And it's like, you had not cleaned your coffee cup in 11 years. You know, that's just gank. I'm sorry. And I'm guilty of it, but I threw mine away once every 6 or 7 months and bought a new one, you know, because they just get incredibly disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, I
The only
mean,
Man,
reason
you watch somebody's cup, they'll get upset with you, man. They'll get
yeah, what
upset
are you
with
going to use to wash it with? Ivory soap? Come on. We didn't
no, you
have
know
to
what you
Yeah.
wash it
use?
with.
No, I'll tell you what you use. Effordent. Effordent. Everything that you
Oh,
want
yeah.
clean in prison, like if you really need it clean, I always kept Effordent for cleaning any of my plastic or
Yep.
any of the stuff I cooked in or anything else. Just toss in some Effordent, put the top on, forget about it. In the morning, go get it out.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Right?
Forget
I learned
about
that,
it.
I learned that from the former head of the Colombo crime family. Actually, he's the one that helped me. True story. He was an ace, that dude. He was an ace. Casper and Johnny, you both have excellent teeth. Did you ever go to a prison dentist? I don't know how excellent these teeth are. Yeah, I went to a lot of prison dentists. I normally just got teeth pulled. The very last prison I went to, I went in because it hurt so bad. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to get another one pulled. And there was a woman who had to be in her 20s or early 30s, young lady, really attractive, very kind. And she was like, you want me to just fill this? I was like, do what? She's like, I can fill it. I'm like, holy crap. She goes, hold on, let me look real quick. She goes, there's 4 or 5 of them. And I'm like, yeah, well, go figure. You know, my option is getting them pulled. And I explained it to her, and she's like, I can do 2 right now. Fake that you have a toothache. Come back on Monday morning, and I'll do the other 3. And I mean, she was cool as hell. So I got like probably 6 fillings, and they were using the new stuff, right? So you don't even see the fillings. They used to put like a silver one right in the middle of your tooth. Like they didn't care. You see guys that there was some rugged dental work. They got a filling right in the front.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow. You couldn't hold out, huh?
Yeah.
That is tough. But yeah, the healthcare system inside, everybody talks about it. You hear all the time where they go, those guys actually, they're getting way better healthcare than the people on the street. No, they're not. No, they're not.
No.
I promise you, man. You know, I would go down and I'd say, well, I got a really bad headache. Oh, hold on, I'll be right back. And they're typing on the computer, and you're like, oh, they're probably looking up my symptoms. She's like, you got $185 on your books. Might want to buy some ibuprofen. You low.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're good about that.
Yeah, you Temu low budget. You know, don't you guys take an oath of some kind? And they're going to charge you $2 for your visit, so that they can tell you to go buy whatever it is you need.
Do that.
Drink
That's
more water.
Fairly
Bill
new.
Bill Clinton. Yeah,
what's that?
Bill Clinton signed that. The $2 copay act. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not forgiven him since. You know, I mean, on top of all that,
how many people are in the federal system?
At any given time, between 180 and about 205,000 is usually the going.
Nothing compared to state.
No, we're the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And if you happen to end up in the SMU, then you're the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. We're the smallest minority, and I'm not being funny, according to the government. So when you get out of jail, I don't know if you took advantage of this, Casper, but when you get out as a Fed, once you're off paper, walk into any government building and they're going to put you on the best insurance in the world. You got 365 days of it, but they will put you on the best insurance in the world anywhere. Get anything you want done. Like there is a bunch of stuff, but you got to get off paper, and nobody ever gets off paper. You know, no one gets off paper. It's awesome. You know,
Casper.
Hey, a lot of guys stay on paper a decade.
So as it stands right now, there's 122 facilities as of January 2025 with 157 thousand inmates, 157,500 inmates. They just let out 1,500 though yesterday.
They also don't count. They also don't count in that INS deports. So,
they don't?
Nope. So there are
that's a lot more.
There's a ton of people that are waiting to be deported. And so some guys will get, if you come into the country illegally, you get an illegal entry into the United States. It's a 5-year sentence. But they don't give you 5 years the first time. You go to a place like Pahrump, or sometimes you'll even be on a yard. But as soon as a Con Air bird comes up and they've got it filled, they pull those people out, they stick them on a plane, they send them back. If that person comes back and gets caught again, then they actually do the 5 years. And every once in a while, guys fall between the cracks. I met a dude and he said he got 4 tries. He got let back in and deported four times. And a lot of times what these guys will do when they get here is they'll tip up. They'll join a prison gang. They get ink all over themselves. Well, when you get off of a plane with ink all over yourselves, the cartel grabs you. You're going to work. You don't have a choice, man. You don't.
Yeah.
You got off the plane, they're like, this guy's already a screw up. That's why you see the guys that call themselves Pisas, right? It's like country, like Hick.
Border
right?
Brothers.
Yeah, like Border Brothers. And they don't ever get ink. You can always tell them because there are no ink on those guys. They're not giving Casper any business.
Nope.
Right? Pisas that get tattoos are in deep trouble.
The ones there is a group of Pisces called the Border Brothers, literally, and they're not well liked in a lot of the prisons. And I will cover up a lot of those tattoos, though.
A lot of Mullins,
yep.
You're not asking too many questions, so don't worry about that. I got charged for my son's medical care in jail, but not in prison. Well, state prisons are a little different than federal prisons. The Federal Prison Reimbursement Act was signed by Bill Clinton, and it says that every inmate will be charged a minimum of $2 for every visit, unless they're on chronic care. So if you have asthma or something like that, they're going to see you a couple of times a year on the $2 shot. But if you're going up there because you feel sick or anything like that, they're going to charge you $2 for it. And a lot of jail facilities, people get charged for that, but usually not in state prisons.
That's right.
Yeah, but not too many questions. Don't fear that. I wanted to ask about Con Air. Is it like the plane in the movie Con Air with Cages and Steve Buscemi? He was. Every time I flew, Steve Buscemi was. I was amazed.
I am Steve Buscemi.
Or more like a budget normal commercial plane. It is a 737. It's a 737. The newest one has been purchased from Alaska Airlines. And it is a fairly new 737. It's in good shape. It didn't used to be. We used to have a 727 that had duct tape on the wings. But the new one looks like every other Southwest Airlines you've ever been on, except it's all white. And the only designation it has is a flag on the tail that is a United States flag. But other than that, and the only way you'll know what it is if you've flown a lot, you'll recognize the carpet as being a Hawaiian airline. Alaska airline carpet. But it's not, but there are cages in the back. They do have Cyrus the Virus cages. That's no lie. In the very back of the plane, they have 2 cages for guys that act up. And I have seen people put in them. Usually they get tased before they get put in it. Like if you get there and you go, I'm afraid of flying. In the movie, they go, we got to get them there another way. We'll have to put them in the real world. They tase you and stick you in the cage in the back.
Yep.
Yeah. They don't care that you're afraid of flying. Tough luck. You're getting ready to fly. I don't care how bad you're afraid of it.
They'll carry you right upstairs.
I watched them do it. This guy was screaming at the top of his lungs, "You can't make me fly." They went, "Oh, but we can."
Really?
Yeah. No, we can. We can. And the guy said, he even, no joke, said, turns around on the cop. He goes, "What? You thought it was going to be that easy?" So the cop put the old dry tase right on the guy's neck and went, took all the piss and vinegar right out of him. Then they put him in Cyrus the Virus cage in the back.
Yeah. So when I first fell, the planes were all confiscated planes from like big drug things. Yeah. So like the one plane I flew was called Vacation Air. I was on another plane that said Jamaican Air on it. I flew that vacation one a lot when I first fell. Yeah. But yeah, they were all planes that have been confiscated in like drug busts and
this is no joke either. The first time I flew Con Air, it was the old 727, and we're standing on the tarmac in Phoenix, and the captain gets out, pushes his hat back, and he gets over by the front wheel, and you can see stuff dripping, and we're all standing there handcuffed, and he bends down, puts his finger in it, goes,
"Oil."
We're good. The dude next to me said, "You got to be woofing me," and with my right hand to God, we're on there. And you know how you reach up and you turn the air? Well, you can't do anything because you're shackled. But the air and the stuff is up there, and there's smoke rolling out from underneath it. And I'm going, "Hey, man." I'm like, "Do you see that?" She's like, "Yeah, it's the light. You don't have anything to worry about."
Oh my God.
If there's smoke on an airplane, I got shit to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care where the smoke's coming from, but I learned a long time ago that everything electric runs on smoke. And you have to keep the smoke in the wires. If you let the smoke get out, everything quits working, right? I've seen it 100 times when the smoke escapes. So I'm watching the smoke roll into the airplane. I'm like, "Hey, boss, I'm not cool with this." You know what I mean? Like, I think you should maybe cancel the flight. See about fixing this. Nope. They fire that thing up and they get you flying. They don't care, man. They don't.
Mm-mm.
And I also skidded off the runway on Conair at the Harrisburg airport. We came in and we landed, right? And then, you know how they put it in reverse and the plane shakes like hell?
Yeah.
We get to the end and then they sort of let it go a little bit. So it goes and it just went right off the end of the runway and went, and the whole front end buried. And I looked at the dude next to me. And I got 50 guys on the plane, right, that have never been on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
That this is their first shot at flight. And they're all looking around at each other like, no shit, that's how they land? There had to be a way better plan than this, right? They just drive off into the dirt. That's how this thing stops. Honestly, there were a bunch of people on there that didn't realize that this wasn't how it usually works.
That's crazy.
Laugh out of it.
Yeah.
A lot of first-time flyers on Conair, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. There are a lot of first time you'll hear that every time you get on Conair, guys going, yeah, I'd never been on a plane before. I always like,
yeah, you're like, what?
It's usually a lot more fun than this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Usually a woman
You fly upside down.
They ask you if you'd like a cocktail. You know what I mean? It's a lot better. I was on Conair with the kid that he had gone online and talked a girl into killing another girl to see if he could do it. You remember that dude?
Yeah.
He was the first guy to ever be convicted of that. And he sat directly next to me on the airplane. And he had that look like he hasn't gotten in the shower since he had been arrested. You know, I had a bit of a rash going on his neck. You know, there are those people that realize that once they actually step in the shower, they've accepted this. You know, you've seen those guys in county jails. But you're 2 weeks in and you're like, hey, bro, you can tap out, dude. You're
right.
Yeah. You need to go hit the shower. Trust me, you're not getting out on bail. You know, the time has come. But he was he was definitely shook up. He wasn't having fun on that ride. I actually took a lot of pleasure from that. Because people that do that kind of evil, they deserve a long, rugged existence. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be having an easy time.
Yes, sir.
Hold on a second. I have a travel buddy that is terrified to fly, but she loves to travel. So she works for an airline. You know, I had a guy next to me on Conair, a black guy, and they don't let you sit like the white guys are all trying to sit only with white guys. If you try to play that game on Conair, they go nuts. You try to line them so that you're sitting, they will get really unhappy. So I just get in there and sit down next to whoever. Super strict. And I sat down next to a black guy and he looked at me and he goes, hey man, you ever fly before? And I go, yeah, I've been on a lot of planes. And he goes, how scary is it? And I go, I don't know. How do you answer that? I go, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, 2.5. It's really not that bad. As the front end of that plane started to take off, this dude had a look on his face like the whole thing was going to end. I've never seen anybody more miserable. And you can't even grab onto anything. Like you can't grab the handrests or anything. Your hands are just here and he's doing this one. I'm like, oh, this poor bastard, man.
Yeah.
We had 3 hours of that. There was not a point at which he looked like he took a breath. When they brought us the food, he was, holding the Conair box. I'm like, oh, baby, this is just, it's got to be a bad time to learn to fly.
You going to eat that?
Right. Is that bologna?
If you really look, if you know the dude next to you, the best thing you can do is open the water and do this one because it's impossible with the belly chains and all that. You're not getting it. You got it on your knee. You're trying to. Oh man, I don't miss Conair, dude. I don't miss that. That was the worst.
The great thing is we're never going back, brother.
No, we are not.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So cool.
Oh, this is a great question, and I can answer it. I absolutely can answer it. What would they do if there was a real emergency? And would they throw down the chute handcuff? They don't care at all. Yeah. I said to one of the Conair guys once, I said, "Have you ever been in an actual emergency?" He goes, "I have not." I said, "What would you do?" He goes, "Well, I'd get out." And I'd go, and the rest of us, he said, "If it were safe for me to go back and try to drag some of you guys out, I probably would do it." He said,
"You're right.
But we would all get as far away as we could first to make sure that everything was safe before we came back to go for all of you." And I thought to myself, they're not coming.
No.
That's a real nice way of saying we're going to be smoking a cigarette about 60 yards away from this thing and hoping it doesn't burst into flames, but you're on your own, Tiger. They definitely wouldn't help you.
Yeah.
Hope you got a cookie.
Yeah.
This is the $1 billion question. What's that, Casper?
Oh, he said something about a cuff key, and I go, I actually do know how to make a cuff key out of a toothbrush.
You know what else works really perfect?
It doesn't go in it. It goes in the. Yeah.
Because of the angle that plastic is at. In fact,
yeah.
The county jail I was at had Coke machines. But the second you took it out, you had to bring the cap up and hand it to the cop because it takes about a minute to make a cup key out of one of those.
Did you guys have sardines on the store?
Hell no, nothing metal.
In state we did. I mean, you
really
pull that back. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
oh wow,
that's a cuff key waiting to happen. I used to like to take the solder off of the fences outside. That stuff made great keys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the
cuff with a comb. So
yeah. But
it showed me how to use the shim.
Yeah, it's like a shim. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where you can slip the cup and hand them back to the cop.
Yeah. You were the first person I ever saw do that.
Yeah.
They love it too. Nothing makes a cop happier than when they come to get your cuffs off and you just hand it to them.
Yeah.
That's that look where you look at them like, I could have just put one in your ribs, bro. Hope you're having a good day.
Yeah.
Right? Hope you're having a good day. And tell your brother with the big arm I don't like him too. I'm kidding. The other day, Dano was the guy that I was talking about, and it was the
and I know Dan. I know Dan really well. Yep.
Yeah, he got his face cut off. He was doing this one, the Hannibal Lecter thing. Like you could actually see jaw and teeth and all that.
I told him it was coming, brother. I told him it was coming.
Yeah, he was as dumb as anybody, and he was on the hall yelling. And I said, when I first moved in, I said to the guy, I said, he doesn't have a cellmate. I said, what was his last cellmate like? And he goes, he hasn't had one since he's been here. And I thought, oh, that's not good. And then they done screwed up and put him in a cage with a couple other guys, and that was a wrap. Yeah, I think they do it. I think they do it for giggles. And let me take that back. They do it for giggles. The cops put people in cages together to see the fights and to see the cut-ups. I mean, Russ can tell you more than anybody because Russ was there for the most famous case of that ever. Right? I mean, literally ever. That's the $1 billion question, Chickacherry Cola. And how does a person get used to it? Some people do, some people don't. There isn't a formula. And to be really honest, you see a lot of guys that just go insane. There's a lot of really crazy people in prison because the prospect of the next 30 years of their life is more than they can handle. But they're stuck there, and you do see people that are just bat crap crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Does it bring back any trauma talking about these things or sharing memories?
And we've talked about this before. I see a therapist every Wednesday morning now. And I actually see a marriage therapist too on Thursdays. But it doesn't, would it have 2 years ago? Possibly. I don't know. I didn't really realize I had any trauma until I got into therapy, and I was real resistant to even calling it trauma, but it was. And I do EMDR, and when the time's right, I do EMDR. I was doing it every week, but it just got to be a little too much. But I think I'm at the tail end of my EMDR. We're really grasping at straws now. So I feel good. I try. Hopefully we're not glorifying any of these stories, and I don't think I don't think we are either. I just when I first joined the Nightyard, I felt like I needed. I think I even said it a few times. I'm not trying to glorify this, but this is what. But I get it. We're all here for the entertainment of it all, and to hear just some really cool things. It's educational, it's entertainment, it's I don't feel any kind of weird way. My heart might get going a little bit, when I'm telling a story about something that's exciting. But
that's me. See, that's me. I don't have a problem talking about this stuff. And I don't even have a problem talking about the gore or the stories that never.
Nope.
There are things that sometimes we'll bring up people that we left behind, or we bring back people and sometimes when the show's over, I'm thinking about a guy that I know is in there tonight. And this is as ugly for people. Now, if you've been there a while and you're on your own program, you've made your cell as nice as you can. You've done things to try to make this so that it's a little bit more like a home, and you've got kind of your own stuff and your own routine and your own program. But make no mistake, the stuff that these guys are describing as hell on earth, that was our home for a really long time. And there's 150,000 people and 30,000 more that are waiting to be deported, and that's their home. And all of the state guys in California are doing even worse time. I mean, Casper can tell you some of those cells are about the size of a flipping phone booth. It's amazing that people can stay in there legally. I mean, some of them are not any wider than the bunk itself.
Nope.
And, Lewisburg has 2 units that are like that, where if you're going to the bathroom, then the dude on the bottom bunk has got to have his feet towards you, because if not, your knee is going to be touching his head. It's just, it's absolutely like when you work out, only one person can work out at a time. It's impossible for 2 people to be standing on the floor at the same time. That's not, I mean, it's so unhealthy. You wouldn't do that to a goldfish, but they do it to inmates for 15 years at a whack.
Yep.
I don't think I ever had really much PTSD from it. I mean, sometimes when somebody will do something and it crosses that respect line,
right,
and they don't know it, you got to check them.
But with all your packages and your freaking television set and your video games and your jeans, I don't imagine you were.
I don't know how many times I came home back to the cell. I had to unwrap something, get rid of these bloody cuffs or gloves, and do all that. So this wasn't all happy-go-lucky. Hit your remote.
No,
it's just your fan.
Yeah, but I did one rip with a television set. I did do one rip with a.
It makes it better.
Set. It does. It makes it a hell of a lot easier. I used to watch How It's Made. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They used to do a marathon. They used to do like a marathon for 3 hours a day, and I used to teach drug classes, and I would have a 3-hour break, and it was perfect. I would sit down and watch How It's Made, and then do my last class and go to bed. I had a great program going in that prison. It was some soft time. I also had a single cell.
That's nice right there.
Yeah, it was softer than hospital cotton. It really was. It was prison land.
It's crazy. The stuff that I have found that has been traumatic for me wouldn't be what everyone would guess it would be. It's not the fighting. It's not the stabbings or the anything like that. It's the fear of the unknown that every morning, and I've talked about this multiple times on the Nightyard. It's that waiting in the morning for that cell door to open. I didn't realize it at the time, but having gone through therapy, it was the first stabbing I seen. I did have to deal with that because I was like, whoa, I'm somewhere dangerous, But after that, and sometimes my therapist will check me. She'll see me. I come in and I'm kind of manicky, and she'll be like, okay. She'll have me take some deep breaths and you do
the eye thing for 30 seconds and explain the EDMR to the people that are not familiar with it.
Yeah, how there's multiple ways to do it. How my therapist does it, she just goes like this with a pen, and you don't move your head, and you just follow it, and then she like brings it back, and then before she does that, we're talking about something, and I'm like, okay, I seen this guy get killed or whatever, or unalived. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
And it really affected me. She's like, okay, just think about, back when you were there. And then she does that. And then she's like, okay, what are you feeling? And it's the most amazing thing. I think the real name is called eye movement derealization.
Derealization, correct.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So EDMR, and that's what that is. It's a very arduous process, but they're having a lot of success with it.
Man, I've gotten into some feelings and some thoughts from it that have just been amazing. I've been sober since I've started it. So,
I'm one that believes that we've come a long way since the 2 guys that were trying to keep each other sober back in the 1930s, and anything that we can do to take advantage of technology and stuff that we're learning. And EDMR shows an awful lot of progress. Promise. I'm sorry. An awful lot of promise. The people that have been trying this seem to be doing really, really well with it.
Yeah.
Blue Bayou says, for the ones that will never get out, how do they not just unalive themselves? There are people who believe, right? Even though for some, like I talked to a lifer that said to me, I know it's just a matter of time before society crumbles. And when it does, we'll break out of here. And for some, they really hold on to that. And they're rooting for chaos, and they're rooting for war, and they're rooting for craziness. And for some people, they have found God, and this is the place that they're planted, and they're going to do everything within their power to affect a change in the world from where they're at. You know, the whole wherever you're planted, you have to flourish and you have to grow. And that's, you know, those are the mindsets I think that keep people going. And then there are pricks that just decide that they're going to live in a spoon. And every guy that comes in from the street, they're going to try to tax for as much as they can so that they can spend their entire life high on heroin. You know, that's pretty big in there too. So usually those are about the three ways.
Yeah.
You know, sad but true, right? That's about what we're looking at. Well, we're going to let Russ go. The poor guy is, I mean, he's in a time zone that puts him at, what's about 3 o'clock in the morning there now? Or
about that, 3:30.
Getting a little late. But we will be back next week, people. Listen, next week we're going to be going an hour early so that we can go a little bit later. And I am announcing it now, so you got an entire week to, you can't say to me next week, what? We always do this at 7. We're going to do it at 6 Mountain Time, right? 5 o'clock on the West Coast next week, so that Russ can stick around just a little bit longer. Spoiled state kid.
What do you mean? He doesn't have a job. He quit.
I know. I quit, buddy.
I know. Yeah. Still not trying to keep you up past your bedtime, man.
Oh, you're trying to say I'm old now, Casper?
No, you've been old since I met you. You're just
my God.
Now you're rich and old. That's the only difference. All right, people, we will be back next week for Nightyard.
No punk.
Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody. God bless everybody.
God bless.
I don't care who you are.